Well, hello. This is my first video that I do. I'm not really used to talking to cameras, but I decided to video document the process of making my doll, ball jointed doll. And as I said, I'm not really used to talking to cameras, but I hope I'll get better as long as I start to do this more often. So what you can see here, the two of the face plates I made. I'm still working on them, and this is the head bag. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus. Yeah, this is the back, and I first made this face plate. I'm still getting used to watching through the camera screen and see what is this recording. But this is the, yeah, it's in focus. And this is the first faceplate I made, and I actually wanted, it's the first time I sculpted in years. I made a doll when I was 12, so I'm no longer 12, so it's been quite a while since I sculpted a face, and I was actually quite surprised that it turned out so well. But I actually wanted to make a more doll-like face, and it turned out very mature because I'm not much of a sculptor. I'm more experienced with painting and drawing, and I draw more realistic faces than cartoony or doll-like faces. So I just applied all those skills that I have for drawing, and all the rules of proportion and heads and so, and then it just turned out to be very very mature and realistic head. So I decided to make this faceplate. So what I did was I had made this head, and I just cut it open, and then I put, I still had there was tissue paper and masking tape inside to make this hole, and then I put clay on it, and then used it to make this faceplate. So it doesn't quite yet fit as good as the other one, but then I made this face, and this more much. Oh yeah, my camera is saying it's not in focus, but it's more doll-like. Well, I just do side-by-side comparison. But let's see that this face is more downwards. It has a larger head, a larger back of the head. It's more doll-like, and I'm not really sure about this head. Maybe I want to lower the ears. With the fantasy ears, it doesn't really matter where they're at. But yeah, I watched some tutorials on anatomy, and that because there was something with this head, and I didn't know quite well what was wrong. I'm not sure if you can see. Let's see if I can focus more. That here you see a very faint line. Oh, it's my camera saying it's not in focus. I'm not sure, but there's a very faint line. It's like this is where this part of the ear used to be, and so I cut off the ear and then reattached it more in the angle. But I watched the video on. Let's see if I can get a focus better. I haven't done any of this before. I'm gonna put my hand on the table so it's not wobbly everywhere. So that I'm readjusting a bit. Yeah. So here's the line I was talking about, and then now I just put it here. But I watched a video tutorial on anatomy, and it actually says that this part of the ear is more along the line of the nose. So I want to cut off the ear, the same here. So, and put this little part, it has a special name, I forgot it, not good at remembering an anatomy name, but and I'm just gonna cut off the ears and put them lower. So the angle of the ear is right, but the placement is not. And well, it's just paper clay, so you can see that here's the line where I cut off the ear and hasn't been filled up with clay yet. And also now you can see the inside. My camera is saying is focused on something else. But no, you need to focus on the inside. Well, I'm just gonna watch this video afterwards and see if it's good enough to post online. If you're watching this, then yes, it was good enough. But as you can see, the inside is still a little bit rough, and then there are whole eye wells for the eyes, but not really good yet. So what I wanted to do is to cut off the ears and readjust them, and I think I'm just gonna, with this head, I'm just gonna leave them as they are. Kind of cute, the fantasy ears, so it's okay if it's not realistic, because they're not realistic. So I'm gonna use, this is my dissection set. I actually did a Bachelor of Biology, and all first year biology students were obligated to buy this set and to cut up dead parts of animals. And you could refuse if you wanted to, but that was part of studying biology, dissecting dead starfish and locusts and so. So I'm gonna carefully cut the ears off, and there is already a line there, and I may break it, but that's okay, because I made it once and I can make it again. And one of the reasons I'm video documenting is because I'm careful. Oh, there's a part that I'm not sure if you can see this. Didn't go well, but as I said, I made it once. If it breaks, it's okay, because I can make it again. And one of the reasons I started to do video documenting is that I made a photo series that proved you can easily fake your work in progress pictures. So there have been cases known that where people just take an existing BJD head. This is Premier clay. I put it in this freezer bag so that it locks it airtight. And what I was saying is that there are people who have taken an existing hat made by a doll company or another artist, and they modified it and they pretended that they did make the entire head themselves. And I'm just gonna fix this ear. I'm gonna spritz a little bit with a bottle of water. Not really handy, I'm so focused in now, but I'm gonna put a little bit of clay in there to just sort of like glue, and squeeze it in. So now I'm gonna, just to show, I'm gonna put a dot here, and I want to attach it there where I put the dot. It's not in focus, I think. Yeah, there. And I just, this is the original angle that I sculpted the ear in, and it must be like, I think like this, but I also need to be careful about the jawline. So I'm gonna cut off a little bit here. So yeah. I am sure actually be having a mat underneath it when I cut with a scalpel. But this is my table, and there are a lot of scratches on it already. And always be careful when you use knives. And this is paper clay. If you wet it, you can just stick a little bit. I don't know, my fingers are wet, so rub it a little bit. If you just wet it a little bit, you can easily. Now I need to be careful. Now if you wet it, paper clay, new, fresh, moist paper clay will stick to it. I'm not sure if this is. I'm checking if it's the right angle and placement. So I was watching, I think I'm gonna cut off a little bit here. So I was watching a video on anatomy. Yeah, my pronunciation may be off because I'm not a native speaker. But I was watching a video on anatomy, and it says that the widest part of a face is not here in the cheekbone. It's actually here, and there's a name for it that I forgot. But this is the widest part of the face, not here in the cheekbones, it's actually here. And that's also the spot where this little part of this part of the ear goes. So I'm gonna add some clay here as well later on. But first I want to attach the ear and see if it's... she's gonna get Dumbo ears. I'm gonna just remove some clay. And that's, as you can see, it's all clay, all paper clay. I've used Premier clay, I've used other paper clays, I forgot what kind of name that was. Premix, this is Premier clay mixed with something else. Premier clay is very whitish and very low fibers content. If you're going to sand paper clay, maybe you want to wear a mask. These are, well, because I'm cutting with a knife, they're large parts. But if you're going to sand, maybe you want to wear a mask, the protection from dust. So it's here, should go here. It kind of looks weird because this ear's too high. I also have this problem when I sculpt, and when I draw, is that this side of the face, my left-hand side face is usually squashed towards the middle, and the right-hand side is stretched away from the nose, away from the middle. And and I know that those things happen, and I try to overcompensate. Like, oh, I always make it stretch this way. And so then I overcompensate, and it's completely skewed the other way. And the same thing, I always do the left-hand side eye, so the right eye, put it too high. And especially when I draw faces, and I go, oh no, I must be very careful not to put the right eye too high, and then I end up putting it too low. But yeah, it's always good thing to check what you're doing. So now I'm going to, yeah, it should go here. Now this may be boring, but you're not obligated to watch. You're not obligated to watch the entire video. Just skip through the parts that you like. I'm just documenting this so I can always prove that yes, this is a paper clay doll and it's not someone else's doll that I took and pretended to have made myself from scratch, because I have proven I can fake work in progress pictures. And I took one of those heads that I had left, and I just put on some Sculpey, used Photoshop, and then made it look like it was made from scratch by me. And then I obviously said, well, I didn't do that, but look, it's so easy to make it look like I did. And now I'm video documenting so that nobody can say I didn't make this doll from scratch. Oh, now maybe I'm going to show the rest of the body that I have. Oh, careful when you put it down, because I may just... Oh, you still see it. I'm gonna push it in. It's sort of like a glue. I'm breaking it up. If this clay dries up and it turns out the ear falls off, I'm just gonna use some glue and glue it back and I still need to sand much of the ear here. And this, as I said, this is the widest part of the face. So I'm just spreading the water so it's not too wet. I'm going to add a little bit of clay here, and I'll usually just use my, and it doesn't matter if it's rough because I'm going to sand it off later. It's like a process of putting on clay, smoothing out. Look what you did. Put on more clay, smooth it with sandpaper. Yeah, this does not look good. I have some tools that I use for certain things that I really like. I'm gonna put a little bit more, and then with sandpaper I'm just gonna smooth it in the right shape. So this is not the right shape yet. I'm gonna use sandpaper. So I'm waiting, put it on the clay, then I am going to wait until it's dry and dry up, and then I'm gonna sculpt it with sandpaper and files. And just the ears won't stick. I have noticed that I like a combination of additive and subtractive sculpting. So I add with clay, and then I remove with sandpaper or files or knives, and I think it's a nice combination. So I add the rough shape with clay, and then I refine it by taking away. And I'm gonna carve this part out later. And I'm wondering, it doesn't really look like I changed much, but I'm also gonna change the eye shape of the eyes, because when I was watching this tutorial on how the face looks, it is that the upper eyelid is a little bit farther out than the lower, and I want to change that. But this one is quite nice, this head, but I'm just gonna put it upside. It's not that near. These are more on the same line, so I'm gonna add more to the upper eyelid in this face. Oh, next ear. I'm gonna refine it later on. I just want this ear to stick, and hopefully I am able to cut this ear off. See if I can. Yep. So I'm using a scalpel to carefully cut off the ear. I could just pry it off because I have previously cut off this. Oh, there's a bit. I have previously cut off those ears to readjust the shape, and I'm just gonna add more clay inside to make it stick. This ear, you can see it's. If I put it in focus, right, it's just clay, and I put on a little bit of Premier clay on. Grab some more bag. And this airtight bag, because if Premier clay comes in contact with air, it dries and then it becomes hard, and you can no longer use it to sculpt things. Oh wait. This is where I want to put. Is it still in focus? So there. Oh, I'm gonna make it a little bit. Yeah, it's just a preference how wet or moist you want your clay to have, because it becomes slippery when it's really wet and it feels kind of gross. So, see if no. Go lower. Working a little bit off. Just kind of a dramatic thing in a sculpting hobby.